Hey everybody, Side Gig Guy here. So as you know, I retired back in 2022, and since then, to keep me busy, I've been doing side gigs like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, and things like that. And I track all my income and my expenses using a tracker. And I've been doing that since the time I retired. And I used to give monthly updates. And it's been a while since I've revamped this tracker. So today I'm going to reintroduce it. It's available for download on my YouTube page. Just go to the About section and you'll find a link to it. I've made some changes to it to make it more customizable to people's cars and to the region they live in. And that's what I'm going to go over as well. All right, so the main thing we've changed is adding some variables with regards to miles per gallon that your car gets, the expected lifetime of your car, and the price of gas in your area. So I'm actually going to talk through this entire spreadsheet and explain how it works. And then I'm going to fill in data from a shift that I did recently. And I'll also show you a report for all the data from the year of 2024. So you can kind of compare one day versus 1 year.
All right, so what we'll go through first is a typical day in the life. You can see there on the right, the variables I've already plugged in for my area for price per gallon and things like that. So on this day, we made $135.15. And we drove 72 miles to complete that. And then I keep track of the number of hours I worked, and I only worked 3.9 hours. And so once those variables are put in, the formulas complete themselves. The gas purchased and the date and ending mileage are just for my notes to have them in there. They won't work into the operational formulas or anything like that. That's all based on number of miles, price per gas, and miles per gallon. So now in the shaded area, you can see how things worked out. And one thing to note is the operational costs, they were only 18% on this particular day. I try and keep that to 20%. Now, hypothetically, if gas costs more, like $6 a gallon, you can see what that would do to the expenses. It would make things obviously more expensive. Similarly, if gas was still $3 a gallon, but you only got 25 miles to a gallon, it would tell pretty much the same story. Now, in that operational field, that only counts the gas, tax, and maintenance. It does not include the value for the new car replacement. Now let's take a look at what this would be if I did it for an entire year. And you can use this tracker to track daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever suits your needs. So in 2024, I made approximately $17,000 and some change. And just counting the miles that I did for the side gigs, it was about 15,000 miles for all the mileage I drove in 2024. Now, last year in 2024, the mileage deduction was only 67 cents. So let's change that real quick to 67 cents per mile instead of 70 cents a mile. And then you can see the information starting to fill in. Let's go ahead and add our hours. I worked 900 hours in 2024. And then that gives you a breakdown of all of the information there. You can see my operational cost was a little bit more than 20%. And my hourly profit after my operational costs was really only around $15 an hour.
And so that's how the spreadsheet works. I was able to go through it for 1 day and for 1 year, and I hope that makes sense. It may seem a little bit redundant to you, especially if I'm already doing tracking on my phone with mileage and with income. But being able to pull out the miles per gallon and how much the tax is influenced, the self-employment tax, because that happens after you take the mileage deduction. So all that information to be able to pull it out is interesting. And I also really like being able to see the operational costs as a percent. So not only do I have a dollar value there, but I try and keep that at less than 20%. And I think knowing that you're spending 20% of what you're bringing in on your costs, taxes and gas, upkeep and things like that are important. Thanks for your time and watching this video. Side Gig Guy out.